Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam. Welcome to Sri Sri Radha Vinod Bihari Mandir, Gopinath Bhavan, Sri Vrindavan Dham. Srila Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srila Panand Gauri Guru Varga ki jai, Pati Pavan Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Prem Purushottam Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinod Bihari Ju ki jai, Radharamana Ju ki jai, Shri Giriraj Maharaj ki jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhaktavirinda ki jai, Shri Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Sudevi is apologizing. She won't be with us today. She's experiencing a weather-related headache. And what she requires is for all of you to send a little bit of foot dust to cure her headache. We just had a big rainstorm. So we will be starting with Mangalachara. That's Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam. In this book, Shri Gauri Giti Gucha, page 1, Bandeham. Dandavat Pranam Vaisnavas. Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavangscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagano Raghunatham Vipankam Sajivam Sadvetam Savadhutam Parjana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahavano Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamshra Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayani Namine Shri Krishna Lila Katane Sudaksham Audarya Madhurya Gunashya Yuktam Param Varinyam Purusham Mahantam Narayanam Kam Shirasham Namami Tridandinam Bhakta Shiromarincha Shri Krishna Padam Jivitaika Vrindi Chaitanya Lila Vritasara Saram Narayanam Satatam Prapandye Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshvaya Bhutale Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Ashtatya Deshatarine Namo Vishnupadaya Gaura Preshvaya Bhutale Shri Srimad Bhakti Pragya Keshavaniti Namine Bhaktivedanta Charitraya Swashritanam Chapaline Jivanante Sanartayo Shri Rama Premadayine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Preshvaya Bhutale नमस्ते भक्ति सिद्धांत सरस्वती इति नामिने श्रीवर्षभारवी देवी दयिताय कृपाभये कृष्ण संबंध विज्ञान दयिने ब्रह्मणे नमः माधुर्योज्ज्वल प्रेमाध्य श्रीरूपानुग भक्तिदा श्रीगौरकरुणाशक्ति विग्रहाय नमोस्तुते नमस्ते गौरवाणी श्रीमूर्तये दिनतारिणे रूपानुगं निरुद्धापो सिद्धान्तध्वन्तहारिणे नमो गौरकिशोराय साक्षान्वैराग्यमूर्तये विप्रलम्भरसम्बोधे पदम्बुजायते नमः नमो भक्तिविनोदाय सच्चिदानन्दनामिने गौरशक्तिस्वरूपाय रूपानुगम्बरायते गौराविर्भावभूमे स्वं निर्देष्टा सजनप्रिया वैष्णवसरमभौम श्री जगन्नाथाय ते नमः वञ्चाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपासिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो महावदन्याय कृष्णप्रेमप्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्णचैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः हे कृष्ण करुणा सिन्धो दीनबन्धो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिकान्तो राधाकान्तो नमोऽस्तुते तप्तकञ्चन गौराङ्गी राधे वृन्दावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये जयतां सुरतो पङ्गो मम मन्दं मतिर्गति मत्सर्वस्वपदाम्बोजो राधामदनमोहनो दिव्यवृन्दारण्यकल्पद्रुमद श्रीमद्रत्नागारसिंहासनस्थो श्रीराधा श्रीलगोविन्ददेव प्रेष्ठादिभिः सेव्यमानो स्मरामि श्रीमन्द्रसरसारम्भे वंशिवद्दत्ततस्थितः कर्षन्नेरुस्वरैर्गोपीनाथ श्रीयस्तु नः वृन्दाय तुलसीदेव्यै प्रियायै केशवस्य च कृष्णभक्तिप्रदे देवी सत्यवत्यै नमो नमः पञ्चतत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्तान्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम् जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद चेतोदर्पणमार्जनं भवमहादाभक्तिनिर्वापनं श्रेयप्रणवचन्द्रिकावितरणं विद्यावधूजीवनम् आनन्दाङ्गुलिवर्धनं प्रतिपदं पूर्णामृतास्वादनं सर्वात्मसपनं परं विजयते श्रीकृष्णसङ्कीर्तनम् हरेर्नाम हरेर्नामेव केवलम् खलो नस्त्येव गतिरन्यथा हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 Gurudev Kripa Bindu Diya Koro E Dase Trinapika Patihi. Page 32. Just as I was saying, Rupanuga Guru Varga ki jai, Guru Parampara ki jai. Is there a difference between Rupanuga Guru Varga and Guru Parampara? Yes. Rupanuga Guru Varga means all of those who are coming in the line of Srila Rupa Goswami. But all of our Guru Parampara are not necessarily coming in the line of Rupa Goswami. So, but still we give glory to our Guru Parampara and honor. But Rupanuga means those who are following Rupa Goswami. In fact, our Srila Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta, Narayan Goswami Maharaj would quite frequently question us, what is the difference between Rupanuga and Raganuga? And for many devotees, this was quite a stumping question, but after some years of being in our Gurudev's association, I began to understand what he meant. What is the difference between Rupanuga and Raganuga? Raganuga means a follower of any of the different kinds of Vrajabasis, specifically referring to Vraja Bhakti, although you can also have Raga Bhakti apparently in Vaikuntha, but specifically following in the moods of Nanda and Yashoda, or the cowherd boys, or even the gopis, or any of the Vrajabasis. This can be called Ragatmika Prem, means rag, spontaneous loving affection overflowing from the heart. But Rupanuga is a special section of Ragatmika, special chamber. This is the words that Srila Gurudev was using for the different aspects of the Vaikuntha planets where different avatars are performing their pastimes. So chamber, a special chamber within the greater idea of Ragatmik Bhakti, there's a special place or a special kind of mood. This is Rupa Anuga, those who are following in the wake of, or in the line of, in the footsteps of Sri Rupa Goswami, as he was doing his bhajan, sadhan bhajan here as a sadhak, and also there, seva sadhaka rupena, siddha rupena chatrahi, as he is worshipping Radha and Krishna in transcendental Vrindavan in the form of Sri Rupa Manjari. So those who are following Rupa Goswami, those who are Rupa Anugas, they have this kind of inherent mood. It's not that the other bhavs will not be present within there. Sakya bhav is also within Gopi bhav. Also Vatsalya Prem is also within Gopi bhav. All the moods are within that highest mood, to their complete extent. But there's a speciality of Rupa Anuga, in that it is specifically following in the line of Sri Rupa, whereas Raga Anuga would be following in the line or in the path of any of the other kinds of Brajavasis. So specifically, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, it says in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita that he came to awaken Chari Bhav, means 4 different moods. This is Dasya, Sakya, Vatsalya, Madhurya, Rasa. But specifically, our Srila Gurudev explained that because Mahaprabhu is who? Radha Bhava Dyuti Sivalitam, tasting Radha's Bhav, then what did he want to give to this world? He wanted to give some sprinkle of that kind of mood. Unata Ujvala Rasang Svarbhakti Shriyam. And how did he give it? Through the medium of Srila Rupa Goswami, who established the inner heart's desire of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in this world. Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam. So now we will call for the mercy of Vaishnavas. Thakura Vaishnavapada Avanira Susampada by Srila Narottam Das Thakur, page 38. Thakura Vaishnavapada, Thakura. And if you don't have the songbook, Jiva Pavana Prabhu, check his name out. He's there. Dandavat Pranam Jiva Pavana Prabhu mercifully posts the bhajan in the most recent or the latest comment in the thread of comments. So you can scroll down to that, or I don't know if you scroll up or down, but find the most recent post and you will find the bhajan there. Jiva Pavana Prabhu's posting it, and then you can follow and sing along with us. Vaishnava Aarti Sri Rupa Manjari Pada, because we couldn't sing it yesterday, page 50. SRIRUPA Pada. Dhruv Purohit. Radhe Radhe. Page 50. 64. Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar. Is that in the, what is it, KK songs? Jai Jai Nityananda Rohini Kumar. Hare Krishna. Sapekala Gauramudharam, page 340, 340, 340, Sake Kalaya Gauram Udaram, S-A-K-H-E K-A-L-A-Y-A G-A-U-R-A-M Udaram.
Madhukaram So
Here's one we don't do very often. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Page 343. 343.
Then Chotisi Kishori. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Oh Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Krishna Deva Bhavantam Bande. Krishna
Did you ever find Choti Si Kishori? Let's do a quick search here. In case you didn't find it. Choti Si Kishori mere angana mein dhole re. Choti, C-H-O-T-I, C, Kishori, Kishori. Kishori, Choti, no. There are different places where you can find it. KK Songs has it. How about that? With a C-H-O-T-I. Yes, Neti Sharma, Nandini, we are singing Jyoti Si Kishori.
जावगांव ससुराल रे ससुराल रे, शर्मा के बोले मुझसे नंदगांव ससुराल रे, शर्मा के बोले मुझसे नंदगांव ससुराल रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में दूल्हे रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे नंदगांव, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में दूल्हे रे, मेरे माँ से पूछी आई कौन तेरा भरता रे, मेरे माँ से पूछी आई कौन तेरा भरता रे, मेरे माँ से पूछी आई कौन तेरा भरता रे, मेरे माँ से पूछी आई कौन तेरा भरता रे, मुस्कुरा के बोली मुझसे, मुस्कुरा के बोली मुझसे श्याम मेरो भरता रे, मुस्कुरा के बोली मुझसे श्याम मेरो भरता रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, मेरे माँ से पूछी लाई खाओगी कावा घनो, मेरे माँ से पूछी लाई खाओगी कावा घनो, आहा आहा बोले मेरे, आहा आहा बोले मेरे आगे पीछे डोले रे, आहा आहा बोले मेरे आगे पीछे डोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, चंद्र सखी भज बाल कृष्ण छवि, चंद्र सखी भज बाल कृष्ण छवि, सपने में आके मुझसे मीठी मीठी बोले रे, सपने में आके मुझसे मीठी मीठी बोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले रे, कामे पाया बागे झम झमा झम बोले रे, कामे पाया बागे झम झमा झम बोले रे, ज्योति सी किशोरी मेरे अंगना में डोले 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 रे, राधे राधे राधे, जय 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 श्री राधे, 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 राधे राधे राधे, जय 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 श्री राधे,
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tadale Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tadbhaktaya Namo Namaha Ajnana Timirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Radhikaya Priyatmane Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Nityanamine Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Nityanamine Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Mukam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girin Yatkripatamaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam. First of all, I offer my Dandavat Pranam thousands of times at the dust of the lotus feet of our beloved Gurudev. Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaja. In the same thousands of Dandavat Pranam at the dust of the lotus feet of Nitya Lila Pravishta Vishnupad Astottara Shri Srimad Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada, and to all of our Rupana Nuga Guru Varga. Let me say that again. Rupanuga Guru Varga. And also to all Vaishnavas past, present and future, including those who are present with us today, I offer my Dandavat Pranam.
Dandavat Pranams.
So yesterday we observed the Tirubhav Tithi, the disappearance anniversary of Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Goswami Maharaj. Wow. One second. And we had the opportunity to remember some of his glories, some of his pastimes. So I remember yesterday there were some questions, and I'm just trying to find those questions because I have lost my place. I don't even remember what kurta I was wearing yesterday. Was it magenta one?
I don't know.
Okay, that's how I can find out which one it was. 71 comments. Nope, that's from the day before. Sorry about that. Somehow, Sudevi's been posting away. I was wearing a white one yesterday. Okay. But I would also like to read some more, study some more going beyond Vaikuntha with all of you. Let's just see. Because I believe, who was it? Shyam Prabhu was asking some questions. And he said he didn't want to take away from Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaja's class or glorification. So there were questions about, how can we feel the lowest of all and simultaneously know one another's association is unfavorable for bhakti, and therefore when they speak to us, not consider what they are saying as true? I might put myself, okay. Who said after the departure of the Guru, one can see the nature of the disciples? Okay, that was Srila Bhakti Shri Rup Siddhanti Maharaj, the Guru of our Bhaktivedanta Sridhar Maharaj, a disciple of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, very powerful, stalwart preacher. Okay, just making sure here. Okay. So that question is a very deep question. How can we feel the lowest of all and simultaneously know one another's association is unfavorable for bhakti, and therefore when they speak to us, not consider what they are saying as true? If we always maintain ourselves with the mood that I am the servant of Sri Guru, that I am the servant of Vaishnavas, and that I am the servant of the words of the Lord, which is Shastra, Guru Sadhu Shastra. And if we always maintain association with Vaishnavas, who are superior to us, that doesn't necessarily mean older. It doesn't necessarily mean who has come before me and who took Diksha before me. We have all seen 1,000 million times that this is not the qualification, that someone is older or they took initiation before. Still, we must give them respect according to their age. This is Maryada, or proper etiquette. And we must give people respect according to when they receive Diksha. However, this doesn't mean that we should submit ourselves to them. Respect may be there, but submittance is another thing. Submittance should only be to that person who is transcendental and who is flowing with bhakti. So the qualification for someone that we should submit to is dependent upon the depth of their bhakti or their devotion. And this can be seen or known through a few different mediums. This can be seen and known according to the words of Guru, according to the words of Sadhu, and according to the words of Shastra. However, we should understand that Guru and Sadhu do not deviate from Shastra. So we come into a difficult situation, a situation of conflict, if our Guru is speaking different from Sadhu and Shastra, or if Sadhu is speaking different from Guru and Shastra, or if Guru and Sadhu appear to be speaking different from Shastra. Then we must get this reconciled immediately. If we just accept the words, but we don't take a balance, this system, Guru, Sadhu, Shastra, then we might get ourselves into trouble. Sometimes Sri Guru will glorify someone, and we've seen it many times. I've seen him say things to people, including myself, which I'm not going to tell you because I don't want you to use it out of context, which it will be. But Gurudev will say things to devotees or about devotees, in front of them or in front of their family members. Something like this. Sometimes you'll see that. And then when they themselves take that glorification and start promoting themselves with that glorification, then you know that this was not a glorification, but actually it was a chastisement. Interesting, isn't it? Oh, you're so wonderful, you're so great. Did you hear what Gurudev said about me? I am so wonderful, I am so great. Gurudev wasn't glorifying you, he was chastising you. No, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, if Gurudev becomes my flatterer, if my Guru becomes my flatterer, then he becomes my enemy. So maybe like babies, he might say, oh, you're doing okay, continue as you are. That's one thing. But if we start using the words of Guru to promote ourselves, did you hear what he said about me? How good I am, how dare you challenge? This is wrong. This is a sign of danger. So, how do we know? There are so many references given in Shastra. What are the definitions of Guru? Some foundational, basic definition. Vacho vegam, manasakrodha vegam, jihva vegam, udarapashta vegam, etan vegam, yo vishahita dhira, sarvam abhimam pritibim shashishyat. This is the first verse of Sri Upadeshamrita by Rupa Goswami, Nectar of Instruction. And it tells who is qualified to accept disciples all over the world. Who can control their urge to speak? Nonsense. Who can control the urges of the mind to think? Nonsense. How do you know if someone's controlling the urges of the mind? How does it come out? In the form of nonsense speech? In the form of nonsense anger? In the form of nonsense always trying to taste things of this world? In the form of nonsense always trying to fill one's belly? In the form of nonsense unable to control their sexual or sensual urges? This is a sign of someone's mind not being controlled. So who can control their mind, the urges of the mind? Who can control the urges of the anger by only using it in the service of Krishna? If someone is angry because they are seeing aparad to Vaishnavas or Krishna, then this anger is properly placed. If someone is angry because their own ego has been hurt, then you know they're not able to control their anger. Sri Guru may express anger for our benefit, but anyone else who's not Sri Guru, expressing anger for their own pain and suffering, then this is usually their ego. Who's able to control anger? Who's able to control the urges of the tongue? Jihva vegam. Tarmadhe jivayati lobhamoy sidurmati. Of all of the senses, the tongue is the most voracious and uncontrollable. Lobhamoy sudurmati. Sudurmati really means the most wicked. So the tongue. And the tongue's business is to taste everything. And also to vibrate. Sound vibration. How do you control the urges of the tongue of vibrating sound? By vibrating transcendental sound. How do you control the urges of the mind from thinking about nonsense? By filling it so much with Krishna that you don't have time to think about nonsense. That means one must associate with those who also always remind us of Krishna. And by this, then one's anger can be controlled. By controlling the urges of the tongue, not wanting to taste and enjoy 3 big feasts or 5 feasts a day. We see in Chaitanya Charitamrita that on holy days, there was big festivals, but the rest of the time, Mahaprabhu ordered to Raghunath Das Goswami, one should not eat too much or too luxuriously. Otherwise, it increases one's lust, and then one will not be able to focus on Krishna, but it will Gurudev and many Vaishnavas have explained that it pushes down on the senses. So if one is not controlled when they're eating, then their belly is also becoming full and it's putting pressure on their sensual organs, which makes them lusty. So if one controls their appetite, eats simply, taking Mahaprasadam and honoring that Mahaprasad, if one is able to control all of these urges, who can control these urges? No mundane person of this world. Only someone who is actually experiencing the higher taste of Krishna Bhakti Ras, they can control these urges, and they are qualified to accept disciples all over the world. Then there's other verses. 26 qualities of a devotee. Kripalu, Akritadroha, Satya, Sarasamanido, Shabananya, Vidu, Shuchi, Akinchana, Sarvapakaraka, Shanta, Krishnaika, Sharana, Akama, Anihastira, Vijita, Sadguna, Midabhuk, Apramata, Madad, Amani, Gambhira, Karuna, Maitra, Kavi, Dakshamani. 26 qualities of a devotee. But the one right in the center, Krishnaika Sharana, that gives all of the other qualities their value. Like placing a 1 in front of 25 zeros, suddenly it has so much value. When you place that one quality of complete surrender to Krishna, then all other qualities become glorious by being charged or superpowered by that one main quality. And that is also confirmed in the verse, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shreya Uttamam Shade Parecha Nishnatam Brahmanyupasamashrayam. It's a prayer glorifying Guru. That they must be well versed in all Shastra, so that they can dispel all doubt. And they must be able to dispel all of your doubt through the medium of Shastra. And this is confirmed in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Kiba Vipra Kibinyasi Shudra Kenino Ye Krishna Tattvaveta Se Guru Hoy. It doesn't matter if one is a Brahmin, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, whatever, if they are well versed in all Krishna Tattva. Ye Krishna Tattvaveta Se Guru Hoy. They are Guru. But it's not enough to just be well versed in the Tattva, but really it means one who has developed and awakened their relationship with that Tattva, with Krishna. They are Guru. And they are qualified to save the world. And so, Tasmad Gurum Prapadyeta Jigyasu Shre Uttamam Shabde Pare Chanishnatam Brahmanyupasamashrayam. This whole verse is hinging on this one point. Who is completely surrendered by mind, body, soul, words, everything, 24 hours without cessation, kalam nayed. What is it? Ahoitiki apratihata. means without cessation, without any material cause, completely surrendered to Para Brahma Shri Krishna. This means Brahman Yupa Samashrayam. Then this person is qualified to accept the role of Guru. So, coming back to the original question, because I do not want to divert, how can we feel the lowest of all and simultaneously know when another's association is unfavorable for bhakti? So I was talking about the qualifications for Guru, but also we should understand this point. This is the highest qualification. So we must see, is someone reminding me always of Krishna? How are their activities? What is their nature? Krishna speaks about this in Bhagavad-gita. What is the nature of someone in the mode of goodness? What is the nature of someone in the mode of passion? What is the nature of someone in the mode of ignorance? How do they eat? How do they sleep? How do they walk? How do they talk? What is their nature? Because there are people who can expertly weave shlokas. I remember once we were in Govardhan and Srila Gurudev warned us, you should be careful. He said there are some persons, for every shlok you can tell, they can tell 100 shlokas. And for every one of those shlokas they can tell another 100 shlokas. And they can run circles around you with tattva and siddhant and everything. And in the end they will say, Tattvamasi, Sab Narayan, everything is Narayan, I am Narayan, you are Narayan, it's all one or it's all nothing. In the end they will say this. And he said they have the capacity to make thousands in an audience weep and cry as they are telling Krishna Lila. And in the end they will just say this, it's all one. He said, so you should be very careful. So just because someone has the ability to play with shloks, or tattva, siddhant, or to tell harikatha expertly, if they're not following the line of thought of their Gurudev, then they are bound to become sahajya. I'm quoting Srila Gurudev on that. If they're not following the line of thought of their Gurudev, in principle, they're bound to be sahajya. Sahajya means to marry the mundane with the spiritual. It's incompatible, but that is the definition of prakrita sahajya. It means they're bound to deviate, naturally. So, which association do we take? Who can inspire us in the path of bhakti? Somebody's calling, and it's not the water guy. Who can inspire us to move forward in the path of bhakti? Who will inspire us to take association of more advanced Vaishnavas? Who will not deviate us from the teachings of their own Gurudev? Who will increase our faith? Who will increase our inspiration and our conviction to hold tightly to the lotus feet of the pure devotees? In this we can know that it is favorable, and we must use some kind of common sense. Srila Prabhupada said we must be intelligent enough to distinguish between what is favorable and what is not. That means we must have some foundation in Shastra, some basic understanding. We are investing our souls. So where does the humility come in? Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada explained that this verse, Trinadapi Sunichena, does not mean that one should be humble to everyone or everything. It means one should be humble to Hari, Guru and Vaishnava. But also we should be humble to Vaishnavas according to their level. Krishneti yasya giritam manasadriyeta jikshashti chet pranatibhishcha vajantamesham shushushaya vajanavigyamananyamanya nindari shunyam hridamit sita sangalabdhyat. This is the 5th verse of Sri Upadeshamrita. The first shlok Gurudev taught us. He was like a classroom teacher. You know this shlok? 5th verse of Upadeshamrita, Krishna, we said no. And he started, Krishneti yasya giritam manas, and he's trying to tell us about it. And he said, okay, so learn that shlok and tomorrow I will test you. We were like, all night studying this shlok. Sudevi's like, I don't want to go back, I can't learn shloks. Like, we have to go. Gurudev didn't ask us anything about it the next day, but he knew we would learn it. Sometimes he would say, learn it, like that. So, This verse is telling us that one should learn how to honor Vaishnavas appropriately according to their levels. First level Vaishnava is known as Kanishta Vaishnava, who is chanting Harinam, but they don't know how to honor Vaishnavas properly. They have faith in Thakurji, faith in Gurudev, but they don't know how to honor Vaishnavas properly. This is called Kanishta Vaishnava, but they're chanting Harinam. So, Manasadriyeta, within the mind, offer pranam. Dikshashtichet pranatibhishcha bhajantamisham. That person who has received Diksha means they have really entered more deeply into the path of Bhakti, made firm commitments that I will utilize my life for the purpose of awakening my loving service to Krishna, my nature of loving service to Krishna, and they are doing bhajan, means following the practices of Bhakti. Ado shraddha tata sadhu sangata bhajana kriya tato nartana vritti syat. They are following the path of bhajan as prescribed by their Gurudev and Guru Varga. Then, Dikshastite pranatibhish chabhajantamisham, they're doing bhajan, then we should do dandavat pranam to them. So we see that when we do vanchakalpatarubhyascha, all of our God brothers and God sisters are there, they have received Harinam Diksha, we're offering pranam to them, dandavat pranam. Then, Shrushrushaya bhajana vidyam ananyamanya nindadi shunyam. Ninda adi shunya means they are devoid of the tendency to criticize others. They're devoid of envy, devoid of jealousy, devoid of any of these characters. Ninda adi means ninda and so forth. Shunya means without. So Shrushrushaya bhajana vidyam ananyam anya. They are one-pointed, exclusive devotees of Krishna. They are completely, perfectly following this verse, Anya bhilashita shunyam, completely surrendered by mind, body, soul, words, everything in the service of Krishna without any other consideration, completely exclusive. To that person, Shrushrushaya bhajana vidyamananyamanyam nindari shunyam hridamit sitta sangalabdhyat. We should always aspire for their association, and we should completely surrender ourselves at their lotus feet and take shelter, submit ourselves to them. So this is showing how we should honor Vaishnavas appropriately. But humility is not to be shown falsely to those who are inimical, atheistic, Mayavadis, inimical to Guru, Vaishnava and Krishna. We should not show humility to them. How do we show humility? To Krishna, Hari Guru Vaishnava. And we might even show that humility like Hanuman or Arjuna if we have that qualification. But for us, maybe because we're practicing as pracharaks, as preachers, all of us, then we may show that humility by following the rule of the Madhyam, Prema, love for Bhagavan, Maitri, friendship with like-minded devotees, Kripa, help, mercy, compassion on those who are sincere and who need help, and upeksha. We will avoid those who are inimical or aparadhis to Guru Vaishnava Bhagavan. So this is humility. It means following Guru Sadhu Shastra. So how can one remain humble, feel themselves the lowest of all, and simultaneously know when another's association is unfavorable for bhakti? Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Goswami Maharaj explained that one can begin to emulate or imbibe the qualities of humility when they're associating with someone who is truly great. Or associating with someone like Sri Guru, then you feel yourself so small in front of them. It doesn't matter how big you are. I've seen so many persons, even on the global stage, so many people are giving so much respect, but in front of Gurudev they felt themselves very small, even felt fear to speak in front of him. In Gurudev once he said, in front of myself and Sudevi, it was in South Africa, and there was many devotees there in that darshan. He said, oh, I also used to be like this in front of my Gurudev. This is the nature of a disciple. It doesn't matter how big one is outside, but in front of their Gurudev, feeling so small and insignificant. So if one is always feeling the presence of their Gurudev with them, if one is always feeling the presence of their Guru Varga with them, Imagine sitting next to Srila Bhaktivedanta Thakur and Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada and Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj and Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj and all other great acharyas. Will we be able to do anything but keep our head on the floor and just accept whatever they're giving us? We don't have any other capacity at that point. We will feel ourselves so small and insignificant. This is how real humility will manifest. Srila Bhaktivedanta Bharati Maharaj says. So, it's not that we are stupid. There's humility and there's stupidity. We should be well informed and understand what is favorable for bhakti and accept that. Anukulyasya sankalpa, and what is unfavorable for bhakti, pratikulyasya varjanam. Keep that far away. If we blend it all together in a big mishmash, we're going to be in a very dangerous situation. Then we will accept a third-class bogus person as guru and put him up on the level of uttam. And then we will make aparad to the real uttam. Srila Gurudev said, if you accept a third-class bogus person as uttam and glorify him as uttam, then you're making aparad to the real uttam. In the same way that any of us, if we were placed on the Vyasasan with Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, wouldn't we feel stupid? Who am I to sit there next to him? I should sit as a particle under his feet. To place me on that same level. Gurudev said, can you get cow's milk from a male donkey? It's not the same thing. We are not Mayavadis. It's not all one. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said, there's nothing is the same under the sun. There's nothing equal under the sun, he said. Nothing equal under the sun. Everything has its own specific place. So, when we take shelter of someone, we should first be sure of their bona fides before we do so. If we want to maintain humility and feel humble, I'm still far from that. But by the association of those who are truly great, then we can begin to feel this humility. And we should always be aware. We should always have that system of checks and balances. You see this? How this is standing. It's got 3 legs. If it only had 2, unless like a human, we balance by moving back and forth slightly in micro movements. But this has 3 feet. And these 3 feet give it a foundation. All confirm and complement one another. Then we will know what is favorable. And if we accept Guru Sadhu Shastra, then we will be in the line of humility. But if we reject 2 and just accept 1, then we can be very far off the path of bhakti. A very good and deep one. We should not only just listen, but all of our Guru Varga, most of them have spent so much time writing, so much time putting their thoughts on paper in a way that it will be understood and digestible for all time. Why did they do that? Why did Gurudev spend hours and hours every day from early morning and in between darshans and late into the night? Why did Srila Prabhupada do this? Why did so many of our Guru Varga do this? Writing and writing and writing. Because they wanted to express certain moods. They wanted to place it down on paper for all time so that we would derive the benefit of that. So what's a way that we can serve them and develop humility? Is to learn, is to read, is to study, and to understand, and simultaneously associate with Vaisnava sadhus. But to read. They've given it for us. So we should at least give them that much honor that we will accept their hard work and imbibe that, ingest that into our hearts, into our minds, into our life. And then also endeavor to follow. And by this we'll be able to have the vivek, the discrimination, to be able to see what is favorable and what is unfavorable. Sometimes we may make a mistake because we are conditioned souls. But if we have a very strong foundation, then we should be able to recognize and see, this situation is not favorable for me. This one is favorable for me. This is not the definition of pure devotee, because it's not pure. Pure means pure. Nowadays there's lots of definitions, different definitions of pure. Pure can mean mixed. Pure can mean very polluted. But that's not the meaning of pure. Pure means without any mixing, without any flaw, without any fault, without any inebriety. This is pure. If we're looking for pure devotee, there's so many different levels of devotees, but what is a pure devotee? Then we should try to understand the definition of pure devotee as given from Shastra, and take shelter of those who are pure devotees, meaning they have no interest in anything else other than service of Krishna, Guru, Gauranga, Radha and Krishna. If they have interest in anything else, then it's not pure. Then we can associate with them on that level and accept the good, but we don't need to superimpose pure onto something which isn't pure. Then we are cheating ourselves, we are cheating others, we're lying, we're duplicitous, we're hypocrites, and we're also superimposing it onto that person who might actually fall for it. How many times have we seen people placed on a pedestal and they actually start to believe it? You're God, you're God, you're God, and they're like, I'm God, and then so this is also not good. We should give respect and honor according to the level, what we know, what we see, and we can receive so much. It's not that we should be disrespectful. We can receive gold even from a dirty place. Right? If it falls in the gutter, you can take it out and clean it, and it's still gold. So what valuable treasures so many have received? Maybe they've received it, and they have something to share. I had this interaction with Gurudev. I know I'm fallen, but I've had this interaction. Can someone benefit from that? Yes. But Gurudev would say, if someone is doing preaching, and they're not following the order of their Gurudev, especially directly disobeying the order of their Gurudev, and they're preaching whatever they're preaching, Gurudev said, what will the result be? 0. So just because someone's an expert preacher, someone knows all of the shloks, all of the tattva, all of the siddhant, all of the lila katha and everything else, but if they are not following the order of their Gurudev, if they're disobeying the order of their Gurudev, even if everything looks great on the outside, something is wrong. There's no backbone. Something is missing. The foundation is missing. You can build a beautiful palace without a foundation, and the slightest little earthquake will knock it to the ground. There must be that foundation, that is Guru Nishta. That is the backbone of Bhakti. So I hope I have... What? Feed was cut off? I just saw it. Sorry about that. How long was it cut off for? What is the difference between Guru and Sadhu? All real sadhus, Sadhu, Gurudev explained, is that person who is in touch with Sat, or the absolute truth, 24 hours a day. This is the definition of Sadhu, who is in contact with Sat, with the truth. Krishna is known as Param Satyam, the supreme absolute truth, or Satyam Param. Very first verse of Bhagavatam says, Satyam Param Dhimahi, I meditate upon Parasatya, Sri Krishna. So that is truth, or absolute truth. Who is in touch with that? That is Sadhu. So another term for Sadhu, Srila Govinda Maharaj would always say the word Sadhu linked with the word Guru. He would say Sadhu Guru. Because technically, theoretically, there's no difference. Guru and Sadhu is Diksha Guru and Shiksha Gurus. And there is no difference between Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru according to Shastra. To see that there's a difference, this is considered to be offensive or aparad. But their function is slightly different. Diksha Guru is the one who gives you mantra. And they may also give you shiksha or instruction. But Shiksha Guru is the instructor. Diksha Guru is known as Krishna Roop, or the form of Krishna. And Shiksha Guru is known as Krishna Swarup, or the Krishna's own form, or his nature. So they're both different names for the same thing, but the speciality is there can be only one initiating spiritual master, but there can be many, many Shiksha Gurus. And Shiksha Guru is another name for sadhu, whom I associate with, who inspires me in my relationship with my initiating spiritual master. This is the definition of Shiksha Guru. If that personality is trying to take your heart for themselves and take you away from your Diksha Guru, then they're not Shiksha Guru. In fact, Param Gurudev Bhakti Pragya and Keshav Goswami Maharaj said they're not even Vaisnava. If they're trying to take you away from your Diksha Guru. Of course, Diksha Guru must be qualified. We must understand this. That Diksha Guru and Shiksha Guru are non-different if both of them are actually transcendental and pure devotees of the Lord. It is Krishna who is Guru, who is acting through these different forms. As our Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada told in 1936 to his godbrothers in a festival of the disappearance of Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada, he said, Guru is one who appears in an infinity of forms to teach you, me, and all others. So that one is Krishna. Vande Krishna Jagat Guru. He's the universal Guru. I offer pranam to him. And that Guru manifests, Krishna, Guru, his mercy condenses and manifests through the forms of Diksha and Shiksha Gurus. So, the difference between Guru and Sadhu is that Guru is that person that you submit to, that you accept initiation from, and Sadhu would be Shiksha Gurus. And among many, many Shiksha Gurus, there will be one prominent, who will then become known as your Bhajan Shiksha Guru. Guru is also Sadhu, and Shiksha Guru is also Sadhu, and all Vaishnavas, pure Vaishnavas, are also Sadhu. So they're all Gurus. And when we arrive in the transcendental realm, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Sridhar Maharaj said, this realm is known as the land of exploitation, because everyone is trying to exploit everyone and everything else for their own benefit. But in the transcendental realm, it is the realm of everyone utilizing all of their energy and the energy of anything and everyone else in the service of Krishna. It is the land of dedication, but he's also called it the land of Gurus. Why? Because everyone is exclusively devoted to serving Krishna for his happiness, his pleasure, and his benefit. Therefore, they are all Guru. Yashoda, Nanda Baba, all of the cowherd boys, all of the cows, the trees, Yamuna Devi, the insects, the deer, the gopi, Srimad, everyone is Guru in the transcendental realm. Because their hearts are saturated, deeply saturated with exclusive love and affection for Krishna. Two minutes I was missing. Oh no. So, I don't even know what I missed. I'm fuzzy. Thank you. Oh, Vichitra Didi. Dandava Pranam. So, yes, I was just telling the Srila Gaura Govinda Maharaj would call sadhus Sadhu Guru. So we should understand that they're different forms of the same function, the same essential function, but they also function in their own way. Right? All of the gopis are different forms of the same function of the Hladini Shakti, but they all function individually as well. Chandravali is a manifestation of Srimati Radhika. Uma Rama Satya Shachi Chandra Rukmini Radha Avatar Sabe Am Nayamani. According to all revealed scriptures, Uma, Rama, Satya, Shachi, Chandra, Rukmini, all are the avatar of Srimati Radhika, means manifestations of Hladini Shakti. But Chandravali is also, yet she is Vipaksha, in the opposite camp. To increase transcendental pleasure for Krishna, these camps take place, and they're pervertedly reflected in this material world as camp mentality as well. But there, everything's exclusively for Krishna. Here, it's exclusively for our own selfish motivations, generally. So, there's a speciality among these gopis. Although they're all coming from the same source, Srimati Radhika, still they have their natures. So, the nature of Chandravali is Dakshina Bhav. Completely submissive. Doing anything for Krishna's pleasure and happiness at the moment. And Srimati Radhika's mood is Bhamya Bhav. Being coached by Lalita Sakhi, Srimati Radhika is always playing the role of hard to get. She turns and walks the other way. Krishna drops his flute, drops his turban, drops everything, runs after her and begs for her mercy. And this increases Krishna's transcendental pleasure. The point I'm making is, Guru is one who's appearing in an infinity of forms and is manifesting that same one function in different ways. And in the same way that Srimati Radhika is one and she's manifesting in unlimited forms and it's expressing itself in different ways. If one takes Harinam from an Uttama and then Diksha from a second-class Guru is the case of one, in the case of one local devotee, has she done aparad? She says she has so much contradiction calling them both Guru. This is quite an unfortunate situation. One should be very careful not to intentionally accept someone as Guru who they don't have exclusive faith in as the topmost. It might be that someone accepts a Madhyam or even Kanishta as a Guru, but they should first have faith that this person is transcendental. If you've taken Harinam from an Uttam and then you could subsequently take Diksha from someone that you don't have faith in, or not so much faith, and you can't see them the same, then this is a problem. This means that we did not practice what is told in Shastra, and it will create this kind of contradiction in our hearts. What words are there in Shastra that define Guru? We should see that our Gurudev fully is compatible with all of them. Every time I hear anyone speak about Guru Tattva, it just increases my faith more and more in the lotus feet of my Gurudev. If someone starts doubting their Gurudev because they're hearing Guru Tattva, this is a very sad thing. So what should someone do in this case? I can't say that they've done aparad, but if one sees their Diksha and Shiksha Guru as different, then this is considered aparad, assuming one has actually done their due diligence and accepted Diksha and Shiksha Guru according to the definitions given in Shastra. These days people kind of push people. I can't tell you how many devotees we've met over the last 15 years. And we ask them, so have you been initiated? And they're like, I think so. You think so, or do you know? Well, I got beads and a name. Okay, you've been initiated. What's your guru's name? I can't remember. Well, how did you get initiated? I was invited. I walked in off the street. There was a line of people standing there. They said, wait in the line to get a sweet. I was waiting in the line to get a sweet, and he gave me a name. This is not how Guru-disciple relationship is developed. This is artificial, and it is forced, and it is against Guru Tattva. To force that thing. It is not right. Even Krishna does not force. Guru is a representative of Krishna. Why should he force anyone? How can you love if it is based on force? Some may say this is mercy, but this is not how one should behave. One should not be greedy to accept too many disciples, Bhaktivedanta Thakur says. One should follow some proper protocol. Allow that jiva to develop some faith. Give them an opportunity. That, wow, I love this. This process of bhakti, my God, this is so tasty. I want to be a devotee. I want to follow this process. I want to dedicate my life to Krishna. Please accept me as your disciple. And then the Guru should watch for some time. Shastra says, Guru will also examine the disciple. Is he sincere? Is he qualified? Is he really going to follow? Or is he just going to say, I have a Guru? Guru is not some kind of watch that you wear on your hand, or some necklace you put on your neck for the day and then you take it off and switch to another thing. This is a deep connection, deep inner connection. So it is unfortunate if one actually sees that it's different. And if they've been forced into that situation, that's also very unfortunate. Some people are like, it's just Harinam, take Harinam, it's just Harinam. It's not just Harinam. Harinam is everything. And if I'm going to receive Harinam, I want to receive Harinam from someone who has the power to call Krishna to reside in that form, who has the power to call Krishna to reside in my heart and accept my service, who has the power to awaken my soul from its dead-like stupor since time without beginning, and has the power to engage me in the service of Krishna. It's just Harinam. Like it's some side thing. Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj, he said, we should not accept Harinam from a dead source. What is a dead source? Dead source means it may be in the parampara, many gurus come in the line, but after some time it might just be like, oh, well, my guru's gone, so now let me be guru. But I have not realized anything. I haven't understood, I haven't developed my relationship, awakened my relationship with mantra, with Harinam Prabhu. Then what am I giving? Today I just read a quote, it's in the Harmonist edition from 2011, I think, in the editorial, based on inspiration from one article from the Gaudiya, from Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada. It said, if anyone has not realized their relationship with the mantra, with their Diksha mantras, or with Harinam Prabhu, and they are giving it to others, like Guru, they are nothing but an imposter, a hypocrite. They are a pretender. So, who should we accept shelter from? We should accept shelter from someone who can actually deliver us the transcendental goods, who can deliver us to Krishna, who can rescue us from this material world. Otherwise, we may be in a very dangerous situation. So in this case, I'll have to think about that some more and then maybe get back to you. I'll have to do some study on that, because she has accepted him, but she doesn't have faith in him. And this is a very dangerous thing. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada said, what is the meaning of your connection if you don't have faith? Ado Guru Parashray, the first step in spiritual life is to surrender. But if you don't have faith, then what is the meaning of your surrender? It's bogus. If you don't have faith that that person can actually give you a relationship to Sri Guru, to Gauranga Mahaprabhu, to Krishna, to Prem itself, to Harinam Prabhu, because they have not realized that relationship, then what are they giving you? In that case, we should all go out and become gurus and give mantras and Harinam, because we know the mantras. I know the mantra. We can all just go and say, hey, I'm a guru because I know the mantra. That's not the qualification for guru. But if that's what is passing off as the qualification for guru, then why can't anyone who's heard the mantra at any time start giving it? There must be some realization. That is why it is said, Bhakti Devi herself places herself into the very capable hand of the Madhyam Bhagavat. Means a high-level Madhyam Vaisnava who has had some realization, who's able to discriminate for our benefit, and then to give us installments of bhakti, to awaken us to our eternal relationship with Krishna. There must be some qualification there. If one takes shelter of someone who's not properly qualified, and that person falls down, then it creates holy hell havoc in the life of the disciple. And I know there are many people who are watching this who have probably experienced this in their own lives. They have placed their faith, even in this life, maybe once or twice or 3 times or 4 times, in somebody who has failed them in the spiritual path, even within Krishna consciousness. And it has created devastation inside their heart. What to speak of the billions and trillions and quadrillions and whatever Googles of lifetimes before that. Finally, this life we have a chance. We should take shelter of the words of Shastra. We should take shelter of the pure Vaishnavas as defined by Shastra, and Sri Guru as defined by Shastra. Then we can understand Shastra in that association, with that foundation. And then we can be assured of forward progress on the path of bhakti. As I mentioned last night, the last thing I said, Srila Maharaj, Srila Bhakti Rakshak Srila Maharaj said, progress means selection and elimination, and there is no end to progress. So if one has accepted a guru and that guru is always falling down and doing so many nonsense things, how can you have faith in them? Gurudev said in that case, Avaishnavan Mukor Girgnam. They're not behaving as a Vaishnava. So let them go. You cannot have that relationship with them. You can't have the relationship of faith in them. Hare Krishna, but I should take shelter of a real, bona fide spiritual master. And I'm not talking about this question exactly because I don't know the situation. But if one does not have faith, then how are they going to progress? So one at that time should pray for higher class association. In this case, I've seen it so many times. Maybe someone takes initiation from someone, they've received mantras. At least what they can do in that situation is cry and pray for any Uttam Mahabhagavat Vaishnava to manifest in their life so that they can take higher class association. And by their association, Diksha, or the process of moving toward perfection. Diksha means the process of gradual revelation of transcendental knowledge in my heart, knowledge of my relationship with Krishna, how I will interact, what is the nature of my service, everything will be awakened gradually. And as this is being awakened gradually, like the sun rising, gradually all darkness will also disappear. That is Shapayati. Divyam Jnanam Shapayati iti Diksha. What is Diksha? The gradual revelation of our transcendental relationship with Krishna and the natural, automatic, incidental byproduct of that, which is the dissolution of all things which are unfavorable for bhakti, all anarthas, all aparads, all everything else, lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, kanaka, kamani, pratishta, and all of that other stuff that we say is anartha, not favorable for the attainment of our goal, anartha, that is what an anartha is, then those things will gradually be diminished until there is nothing left by the presence of the awakening of our transcendental relationship. Krishna Surya Samamayahaya Andakar. Krishna is like the sun and Maya is like darkness. When there is the presence of the sun, where can there be darkness? So as Krishna is manifesting in our heart, first by Shraddha, then Nishtha, Ruchi, Asakti, Bhav, Prem, Sneham, like this, as it is growing, then automatically all of the other things, avidya vinashajate, all ignorance is destroyed. I don't even have time to read from Going Beyond Vaikuntha today, so please forgive me. I did promise yesterday that I would look at the questions and that I would endeavor to answer them, so please forgive me for that. But I will read from Going Beyond Vaikuntha tomorrow, if I'm able to. Srila Gurudev did say we should not think that I know more than everyone else. I know more than the other person, so I will not consider what the other person is saying. I always make sure to consider that what the other person is saying may be true, but I find that very frequently I get sent into a spiral of confusion from doing this. How to reconcile. So, generally, in this case, Srila Gurudev was speaking to those who are senior. That they should also hear. Gurudev once he came out in a meeting where there were some juniors who were standing up to some seniors who were actually speaking some things which were apasiddhanta. And Gurudev came out and he said, I want that everyone should be fearless and be able to boldly speak the truth. No one should be afraid to speak what's on their mind and what's on their heart. And Gurudev would say even that one could be angry with him, but no poison, meaning no mood of malice. But still, there can be anger, there can be frustration. One should be able to voice what they're feeling. And so he said the problems these days is because juniors don't respect the seniors, seniors don't respect juniors, there's no respect anywhere, there's no honor. And so, because there's no affection coming from the top down, and there's no respect coming from the bottom up, then it's creating confusion and problems everywhere. So at least we can listen to someone's point of view. It does not mean that we have to accept it. Our Srila Prabhupada said, if we have something which is positive, and something which is certain, then why should we accept the lesser thing? Why should we accept the lesser thing? If you know something is positively true, the words of Guru Gauranga Radha Krishna, that is positive, then why should I accept the lesser thing? But okay, you want to voice your opinion? Okay, let me know what you think. I don't have an obligation to accept it if it's against Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. But we should be very careful not to associate with those who are Mayavadis, those who are aparadhis, or those who are inimical to the path of bhakti. Now, aparad, this word is very fuzzy. Like you said, this picture was earlier. Because aparadha means against affection. Against love and affection. Aparadha. So if what you are voicing is genuine concern, and it's not against affection, and it's for the benefit of myself, for the benefit... I may have a doubt in something my Gurudev said. Is it aparad if I question him? No. This is part of the process of bhakti. Tad vidhi pranipatena pariprashnena sevaya. Pariprashnena means to ask relevant questions. One time Sudevi told Gurudev, she said, I don't understand why you did this to me, why you put me in this situation. He said, oh, you can also be angry with me. But no malice.
No poison.
No poison. Don't have this poison mood. You can be angry with me too. So anger can be there. This is natural in relationships. You can have a beautiful, loving family, and everything is smooth, and then something happens, and then, but it doesn't change the nature of the love underneath. It's an external, what do you call it? A sanchari bhav on top of the sthayi bhav. Sthayi bhav is a fixed mood. That mood is, you are my beloved person, you are my family member. But then on top of that, sometimes different moods play. Sometimes anger will come up, but there shouldn't be a toxicity to that anger. It's not favorable. So Gurudev also said that he allowed it. And he said anyone should feel free to be able to voice their opinion. So we can hear from someone, okay, this is your opinion. But it doesn't mean that we just blindly accept everything that someone says. That would be foolish. What if they're saying something which is complete nonsense? So always refer back to Guru, Sadhu, Shastra. Always try to bring it back to Guru, Sadhu and Shastra. And if we're more aware of Shastra, and more aware of the teachings of Guru, and more aware of the teachings of Sadhu Vaishnavas, then we'll be able to see things in a greater context, instead of from our very narrow perspective. I heard once that Gurudev said this, and I'm not talking about what you just said. Gurudev said this. Oh, Chaitanya Charitamrita said that you don't need anything except for Harinam. I read there's a verse in there. So I'm going to throw out the rest of Chaitanya Charitamrita and only keep that one verse? What about the context? All of that is telling us how to understand what is Harinam, how to approach Harinam. So context is so important. Gurudev will say one thing. I remember, sometimes you can understand and see, especially if you understand the context, what Gurudev is saying. Sometimes it looks like he's making a glorification, but it's such a heavy chastisement. Such a heavy chastisement. And if you understand the context, you will catch it. So if we become more well-versed in Shastra, more associated with Guru and Vaishnavas, sadhus, then we will gain greater context and then greater insight. If we take this lecture out of context of this lecture, which is saying exactly the opposite, then we won't be able to reconcile things properly. What is the function of Guru? Once Gurudev got off a phone call, and in Fiji we were sitting across from him, and he gets off this hour-long phone call, and he was just like, that is Guru. Guru can reconcile anything. Guru can reconcile anything. Why? Because he has the full gamut of transcendental knowledge. And Krishna is that personality who is able to reconcile everything within himself. All impossibilities are able to be reconciled within himself. And Guru has full access to that. So he can reconcile anything. Whereas the conditioned souls, what can we reconcile? We have these blinders on where we see only a slight part of what's going on. How do we understand it? They say that only an uttam can recognize another uttam. So I'm going to associate with an uttam so I can understand and recognize another uttam. Well, how do you recognize that other uttam? Are you uttam? Right? How do we reconcile that? That is a difficult thing. If only an uttam can recognize another uttam, then how do you know that your person that you're with is an uttam? And we must take shelter of Vaishnavas, we must take shelter of Shastra, we must take shelter of so many different things to be able to understand what is the quality of someone. But if we're just going to project that I'm so qualified that I can know who is uttam and madhyam and I'm a first-class bogus person, then how can I know these things? I must take shelter of senior Vaishnavas, more advanced Vaishnavas. I don't want to use the word senior. Advanced Vaishnavas. Because of their dedication, because of their practice, and because of avoiding all nonsensical activities, I can trust them. They're not going to break my trust. This is so essential and important. And if I take shelter of or associate with such persons, then my quality of bhakti will be improved. It means the quality of my dedication, the quality of my desire to serve Krishna will be increased and improved in the association of those who are more advanced than myself. And in one case you can say, okay, well, I'm the lowest of the low, I'm lower than a worm's stool, so everyone is more advanced than me, so I will associate with anyone. We have to be careful not to overextend the definition. That will be called niyama agraha. One is over-adherence to rules and regulations of scriptures, and one is under-adherence. Niyama agraha, niyama agraha. Prajalpo niyamagraha. It's there in the second verse of Upadeshamrita. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha. Over-extension or under-extension. If I'm the lowest of the low, I'm so low that any association is better for me than what I am right now. Then I will associate with a Mayavadi, or an atheist, or a prostitute, or a druggie, or anyone else who's trying to literally destroy any inclination that I have in bhakti. That would be absolute stupidity. One should feel this kind of humility, this kind of lowliness in front of Guru, Vaishnava, and Bhagavan, Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu. Then it will be properly placed. So it is not just a free-for-all, I'm the lowest of the low, lower than anything, but there is some qualification in that. The proof that it is actually real humility or paramartic humility means coming from there, descending humility, that it is a function of transcendence, is that I will be humble to Hari, Guru and Vaishnava, not just to everyone and everything. Then we will understand that it is properly placed. So we should understand context. I'm so low, what can I do? I don't care that this person's a first-class bogus person, a male donkey, even though I'm looking for cow's milk. But still, I'm so low that I cannot possibly see that they're doing anything which is unfavorable for bhakti. So I'll just close my eyes to it and pretend. And what will be the result? I will become a first-class, bogus person. I will not get cow's milk. I will get something else, and I will be derailed. So I should use my God-given common sense and knowledge of Shastra and associating with Vaishnavas and Guru to be able to properly apply all of these principles so that I don't get myself into some dangerous situation wherein my inclination for bhakti will be destroyed. I should hear Srimad Bhagavatam from who? From that person, especially the Rasalila section, 10th canto. From who? That person whose heart is completely free from any lust, who has no attraction to this material world whatsoever. If I hear it from them, and their heart must also be saturated in bhakti rasa. If I hear from them with faith, with honor, with regard, then the disease of lust in my heart will be eradicated. Hridrogam ashpapahino tyachirena dhira. And someone else can speak the exact same thing. They can speak that same section of Srimad Bhagavatam. But they can also be doing all kinds of nefarious activities in a hidden way, or maybe not in a hidden way. All kinds of sinful and nefarious activities. And they can also be telling it in such a beautiful, amazing way. And what will the result be if I hear from them? Exactly the opposite of hearing from the pure devotee. What bhav is in their heart will be reflected in my heart. And what will happen? I will also become lusty like them. So this is the case of how to hear and who to hear from, especially these high topics. We should hear from those who are properly placed, who are actually free from all of these inebrities. Then we can become like them. O Gurudev, Gaurumore Atmasat, take my heart and make it like yours. Gurudev, make me yours. Hearing from such a person, then we can become free from lust, anger, greed, madness, envy, pride, kanaka, kamini, pratishta, and all kinds of other anarthas. We can become free from all of that in the association of the transcendental personality. And we don't even have to think about becoming free from these things, because by their association, Krishna bhakti rasa bhavitamati kriyatam jadikutopi labdite tatra lolyam apimulyam ekalam janma koti shukritayana labdite. Millions of lifetimes of doing good things in this world cannot give us the qualification for bhakti rasa. The only root qualification is the intense, greedy desire to have it, and that can only be awakened in the association of devotees. Krishna bhakti janma mool hoy sadhu sangha. In the association of Krishna's pure devotees, this desire to serve Krishna will be awakened in our hearts. Wherever that can be attained, it must be purchased without delay, or somehow gotten by hook or by crook, that this mood of inspiration to serve Krishna, this should be somehow acquired. And that is the proof of real greed. So how to get that greed, that is our question. How to get it? Because that is the root. The root of divine greed for Krishna bhakti, service to Krishna, is the intense, greedy desire to have it. And that comes in the association of those who do have it. In the association of Krishna's devotees. Bhakta sanjataya bhakta. How to get bhakti? By associating with Krishna's devotees. So I've gone over time. We should seek that which we can find mutually appreciative of first, and then work from there. Okay, Jiva Bhavana Prabhu Ki Jai. Thank you. Uttam Guru does not require others to look at his acts and decide whether sins may have been committed. Actions of Uttam are always in line with pure bhakti. Thank you, Damodar Pandit. That is true. Sometimes, actually, they're beyond the rules and regulations, and they might do something which appears a little bit odd. Like Vamshidas Babaji Maharaj, or was it Gauridas Pandit? Sometimes, those who are in uttam status, they might actually do things which appear mad from a material perspective. We never see that they're engaged in any mundane, nefarious, especially sexual activities. We have not seen this anywhere. This is very heavily frowned upon by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, especially for renounced persons and sannyasis, to even entertain it, what to speak of act upon it. But Uttam, by their nature, are completely absorbed in Krishna. So generally we see such an extreme amount of renunciation on their part that it is completely overwhelming. How Raghunath Das Goswami would take even that which the cows would refuse, that Mahaprasad, he would wash that, dry it, and then take that. We can't do that. How Gaura-Kishora's Babaji Maharaj would be like a mad person, crying and rolling on the ground, running here and there. Hey Radhe, Brajdevi ke chalalite, hey Nanda Shunokata, Kothai ko premamai Radhe Radhe, Dekadiye prana rakho Radhe Radhe, calling out for loving service of Shri Radha and Krishna. He would take mud from Jamuna or the Ganga. One time it is said that he desired to taste some beautiful sweet Mahaprasad, and then he's like, oh, you foolish, wicked mind, you want to enjoy Mahaprasad? Let me give you something in its place. And he picked a whole handful of neem leaves, very bitter leaves, and he ate that instead. There you go. You want to enjoy Krishna? Eat that instead. So this is sometimes their nature is manifest like this. So it's a little bit sometimes dangerous for those who are not on that level to be directly in their association, because we cannot understand the Uttam properly. So even Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Prabhupada did not allow most of his disciples to go and visit his own Gurudev or personalities like Vamshidas Babaji, but our Param Gurudev Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj and a couple of others, they did get that permission to go and see Srila Gaura-Kishoras Babaji Maharaj, who at that time was living in a public latrine. There's another example of what appears to be madness. So most people won't be able to understand these aberrations, these discrepancies, but we should understand from Shastra, Drishtaisva Bhava Janitayar, Vapashashta Dilshayar, Na Prakritatvam Yabhakta Janasya Pashyat, Gangam Vasam Nakalubud Buddhavena Pankad, Brahmadrabhakvam Apagachati Niradharmai. Rupa Goswami says in Sri Upadeshamrita, verse 6, that just as the Ganga is always transcendental and pure, but sometimes we see bubbles and foam and mud and like this, but we should always understand that she is transcendental and pure. So sometimes in the body of the pure devotee, we might see some aberrations. Maybe their body is deformed, or maybe they appear to be angry from time to time, or maybe they're living in a public latrine or eating bitter neem leaves or mud, or keeping fish bones and beaties around their, beaties are little Indian hand-rolled cigarettes, around their ashram, so that people won't disturb them. Then we should understand it from the perspective of the other pure Vaishnavas, the pure devotees, that these activities are not a product of the material world, but it is a product of their divine madness, premodmada, that they are doing things which we don't understand from a material perspective. And so once qualification comes, then we will be able to see that. Otherwise, we must be under the guidance of the Madhyam Bhagavat, who can discriminate for our benefit what is favorable and what is not. If we will go and see the Uttam and make aparad to them, even in our minds, or to speak of out loud, then this is not favorable for our bhakti, so that Madhyam Bhagavat might say, be careful, it's not your time yet. When the time is right, then they will introduce us when they see or deem that our hearts are qualified to be able to accept this. Like Pundarik Vidyanidhi, when Gadadhar Pandit first saw him, he was very confused. And then Mukunda realized, oh, Gadadhar's confused because it looks like he's a materialist, living lavishly, oiling his hair, living on a beautiful, soft, white bed with silk white sheets and being fanned from both sides, and he had all these golden spittoons everywhere, and looking at himself in the mirror with very expensive chandan on his forehead, very expensive clothing. Gadadhar Pandit was like, this is a pure devotee? It looks like a Vishai, a sense enjoyer. He was feeling it inside. Mukunda understood what Gadadhar Pandit was feeling and then chanted that verse from Srimad Bhagavatam, Aho Bhakiyam Stanakala Kutam. Oh, how greatly merciful is Krishna, that Putana came to him with intent to kill him. But because she was in the guise of a mother, Krishna accepted that and gave her the eternal position of a nursemaid in Goloka Vrindavan. How merciful is Krishna. Then Pundarik Vidyanidhi began manifesting all states of ecstatic transformation, transcendental bhavs, ashtasattvic bhavs, rolling, roaring on the ground, ripping his clothes, knocking everything about, crying out to Krishna, 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 Krishna. How merciful is Krishna. Then Gadadhar Pandit realized, oh, I made aparad in my heart, in my mind. Maybe I should take shelter of this personality. He confirmed with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mind you, he didn't just do it himself, he confirmed it with Mahaprabhu. And then Mahaprabhu said, yes, of course, it is only right. Why? Because Pundarik Vidyanidhi is Vrishabhanu Maharaj, Gadadhar Pandit is Srimati Radhika, the daughter of Vrishabhanu Maharaj, so it was actually appropriate. So I'm just sharing that so that we understand that sometimes we cannot understand the Uttam. But Madhyam Bhagavat, usually we see that they are very dignified in a way that we can understand and relate with. Sometimes Uttams we cannot relate with them. They're completely absorbed internally. But the Madhyam Bhagavat, or the Uttam who takes the role of Madhyam Bhagavat, makes themselves relatable to us so that we can understand each other, and then we can actually surrender and kind of move from our mundane conceptions toward the transcendental conception with a semblance of dharma in place. Means with some kind of nimitic dharma bringing us toward our nitya dharma. It must be there. Otherwise, it can all become madness. So what I'm saying is sahajya. If there's no semblance of worldly dharma, then what is there to define anything? So they kind of require certain things. Certain things are required for us. You should follow this, you should do that, wake up at this time, serve like this, do that, so that we can learn how to serve and how to surrender, how to please the Lord, and then we can move forward from that perspective. So I have gone way over my time. I'm so sorry, please forgive me for that. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to remember all of these teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga. And darshan will be in just a couple minutes. Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Boom. Shri Shri Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Srika Gurudev ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Maharaja Gurudeva ki jai, Shri Nityananda Guru ki jai, Sachinandan Gaur Hari ki jai, Radha Vinodihari ki jai, Radha Raman ki jai, Didi Maharaj ki jai, Hari Nam Sankirtan ki jai, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki jai, Gaur Bhaktivedanta ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari. Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe, Radhe Radhe Radhe, Jai 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 Shri Radhe. Shri Vrindavan Bihari Lal ki Jai, Jai Jai Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Jai Jai Shri Radhe, Shyam Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. So thank you so much for being with us today. I'm sorry for keeping you for so long. Srila Bhaktivedanta Maharaj was always like a clock, when one would start, when one would end, so he didn't disturb anyone else's schedule. So please forgive me for that. I became too overexcited. And we look forward to being with all of you tomorrow. Once again, thank you for engaging me in remembering so many beautiful teachings of our Gurudev and our Guru Varga, and for engaging us in our Guru Seva. Radhe Radhe, Dandavat Pranam, Hare Krishna.
Radhe Radhe.